walk a long ways through the rain, and I'm like, why am I smoking this thing? And it's like all of these factors and surrounding me are so depressing, and then this is just making me feel, internally it's making me feel like shit. So I've got that going on, plus with my atmosphere. That was just like double whammy.
Yeah, I actually first started smoking. I started, the first thing I had was a cigarette, but I started smoking Tiparillos, and yeah, that's what got me really addicted to nicotine. But like for the first month, I was just smoking cigars.
I think I was actually kind of proud of myself when I finally realized I was addicted to nicotine. It was like I was 19, 18 years old, and it's like, hey, I'm addicted to nicotine. It's not just, I'm not just playing. I was like, felt like had accomplished something. I didn't know the next 25 years of my life were going to be, you know, because it seems like with cigarettes, I mean, you like a few in a day, like you like one after your meal, when you get up in the morning with coffee and stuff like that. But there's a lot that I find myself smoking that I didn't want it. So I did not want to smoke the cigarette, but I had to.
Yeah, well, I wanted every one of them. you know, I like smoking. Yeah, it didn't take me long because I was, about 2 months, I guess I was smoking a pack a day. So once I was hooked, I was hooked. Yeah, I remember having like the worst bronchitis ever, and I'm sitting on the cement floor in our basement in our house because I couldn't smoke in the house, by the gas furnace just so they wouldn't smell the smoke. And I'm sitting there with, my lungs are like glass. I'm sitting there lying on a cement floor, I'm just trying to inhale a cigarette. It's killing. It's absolutely killing me. I'm like, I'm gonna die on the floor smoking a cigarette by a gas furnace. I mean, that's how they're gonna find me. And but it was like, oh man, I just had to have that cigarette.
And I was a classic example of peer pressure when it came to marijuana too, because like I didn't really like to smoke pot. I mean, if I were by myself or something and somebody, I had some, then that's one thing. But if you're out in a group of people and you're already feeling a little bit frayed because you don't know who these people are, and somebody shoves a joint in your face, you know, uh, it's like you feel
They're
like a
scary,
pussy if you don't do it.
scary butt pads. That's what they are. Um, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, well no, marijuana though, that was easy. Yeah, no, I like that right away too. Yeah, I was like, oh man, that's better than cigarettes.
You should do public service announcements.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't really be much of a public service to say that, so. But I definitely should do anti-cigarette, more anti-cigarette. I have done, anti-smoking videos, but I really should do a few more of those now and then, because people really shouldn't get caught up in it. I mean, I was just so arrogant, It's like I had seen the videos, well, not videos. They showed us movies back then. But I mean, I was laughing at other people's, oh yeah, addicted. Oh yeah, what fucking lame. It's just such a little arrogant 11-year-old asshole. And so you just don't realize, how it owns you.
Well,
That you're going to get owned.
since you quit smoking, do you feel yourself being less symptomatic? Do you find yourself having more energy, less coughing, and so forth?
Yeah, I never had any cigarette liabilities, so I've gained nothing. I never had a cigarette cough. I actually cough more when I don't have a cigarette. Um, so yeah, no, I haven't gained anything. I'm more tired and depressed than I've ever been in my life. So
Did you exercise while you were smoking cigarettes?
yeah, I used to jog while I'd have a cigarette while I was jogging. People would look at me, but it would be kind of funny.
I ran a 5K when I smoked, and I had a pretty good time. It was like 7-minute miles, which isn't bad for somebody that's in their mid to late 30s at the time. And then I quit smoking and ran it like 2 years later, and it was like 8.5-minute miles. So I got worse because I gained weight, cardiovascularly, I didn't feel a damn bit different when I smoked or when I didn't. Like I said, the only difference was I had 20 pounds extra weight, which made it harder.
Yeah, I mean, it affects people differently. I'm not, you're still just as vulnerable to lung cancer and all that stuff, but, yeah, I mean, cigarettes really didn't get in my way physically at all.
Well, and maybe you'll live to 85, and maybe if you kept smoking, you'd live that long as well. But for every one person that lives that long while smoking, I'll show you 1,000 more that die in their 50s.
Well, who's arguing? Who's arguing that? I've just said that I would not tell people to smoke cigarettes, but I mean, fatty food will do this to you. Not exercising will do this to you. There's so many habits that human beings have that'll kill them just as fast and just as miserably. I mean, let's talk about alcohol and how many people that kills and how many lives it ruins. So, but whatever. I mean, I have no plan to live to be an old man. That was never my ambition. And unfortunately, I probably will anyway. I mean, my father smoked Lucky Strikes for 30 years. He worked in chemical plants his whole fucking life. He's eaten shit his whole life, and he's almost 90.
So what's your point?
Well, my point is genetics have a lot to do with this shit, okay? My grandmother smoked. She lived to be 96. And she smoked for, 70 years. I'm just saying, some people are genetically disposed to cancer and emphysema and all that stuff, and some people might have more of a resistance to it. So I'm just saying, I'm probably, no one in my family's ever died of a cigarette-related illness, and all of them have smoked. So, what can I say?
Oh, good. You've got the good end of the genes there, but statistically speaking, only 25% is actually caused from genes. The rest is environmental.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, you work on a farm. Like I said, my father should have been a real easy target just because of all the access to all the chemicals he had in his life, the carcinogens and whatnot. But it didn't happen. But like I said, it doesn't even. The point I'm making though is that it doesn't matter. It's not my ambition to live to be an old man. So who cares? Everybody makes these decisions. So what is, like I said, if you want to be the naggy state, there's other things to nag people about than cigarettes, and things that are killing innocent people like alcohol. Alcohol wipes out a lot of innocent people. People have nothing to do with it. A lot of them. Most of the victims of alcohol are the friends or families of the alcoholic, or people who happen to live in a house that the alcoholic decides to drive into.
Well, the one thing unique to smoking is the secondhand smoke. You can actually impose on someone else's
The thing unique to fucking drunk drivers is the little dead kids. Secondhand smoke is a pile of fucking shit. All right, it's the statistics don't even go beyond the margin of fucking error. So don't pull that fucking crap. As many people have been killed by secondhand smoke have been killed by fucking broccoli. That's the fucking fact. Go nag people about eating broccoli. It's a fucking carcinogen. Go warn them. Go save them, asshole.
Well, that was uncalled for.
Well, fuck you. It's uncalled for, this propaganda bullshit, alright? You're fucking bastards like you are fucking stealing our fucking money for a fucking decade now, alright, with an outrageous tax on a minority merely because you have majority power to do it, and you're doing it based on propaganda. You don't give a fuck about our lives or our fucking comfort or our fucking dignity or anything goddamn else. You're just fucking stealing our goddamn money. Like I said, why don't we tax you for your donut liability, and you're probably some kind of big fat goddamn pig eater and cow eater, so why don't I tax you for that, you fucking cunt? Crap. I mean, if they're going to tax a vice to pieces, the first vice you go after is the worst one. That would make sense. The worst vice that human beings have is fucking alcohol. No fucking doubt about it. So go tax that 800%. Then come to me with your fucking rant about cigarettes. Go tax a majority vice first, not a minority vice. Have balls. Yeah, I don't know how masturbation is a vice, but whatever. Yeah, well, it does wear you out. You do pay. You pay for that vice.
Yeah, I was in Seattle and they raised the cigarettes up from like 30. It was already like $35 a pack, and it went up to 50. You know, and it's like they had a vote, and the excuse was that, well, this will keep children from smoking. It's just bullshit. You know, they just wanted the money.
Yeah, it's been a lie. They're just using children as an excuse, and it's disgusting. If they wanted to save children, then all you have to do is pass a law that says if you sell cigarettes to a minor, all right, you're going to automatically do a year in jail. All right, plain and simple. There, you pass a simple law. You do a year in jail if you, for money, sell cigarettes to minors, or even not for money. If you traffic in cigarettes to minors, and let's just make it some sort of two-strike rule or something, and the end. But that would solve the problem. But that's not the problem. That's not. They don't want to stop kids from smoking. They just want to get the tax money. And they've already spent the tax money, which is really disgusting in this state. They actually sold the tax revenue, to get immediate cash. So they basically sold the future tax revenues. They bought loans on it so they could spend the cash immediately. So they spent 10 years of tax revenue already in the state of New Jersey. They're obligated to tax us for at least another 10 years just to pay back that debt.
Well, in Seattle, people started scrambling for alternative means to get tobacco. They started doing a lot of ordering cigarettes from other places, and they would go to Indian reservations because it wasn't taxed there. If you went off on a boat, you could get it you could buy alcohol and cigarettes on a boat for like really cheap because they didn't have to bend to the taxes. And I remember.
Yeah, well, New York just right now is going through that right this minute. Okay, right now a judge just 2 days ago or whatever, he did an injunction against the state collecting taxes from Indian reservations, but it's probably will lose eventually in court, and they will start taxing the Indian cigarettes. So I mean, they're probably going to.
Well, it seems like if I remember correctly, you had videos a long time ago where you got a check basically that the government claimed you owed them like $4,000 because you were doing basically the same thing, getting them from outside the state, and then they turn around and try to make it pay like this huge